Hey, remember a few years ago when Hungry Jack's looked at McDonald's Hallmark Big Mac and unveiled their new premier burger, the Big Jack? Because that's the impression I got of Made in Abyss after its second season Soul was stripped bare naked in front of my face thanks to this totally arbitrary Shonen Jump anime that had literally nothing to do with this show whatsoever. So when Oshi no Ko's new anime sprang up this spring and I was still the only one who even noticed this trope existed, well, that's why I'm here today. So if you still haven't figured out what I'm talking about yet, then pay more attention, stupid. It's been smack dab in your face this whole time. For better or worse, it seems like anime openings have been getting more experimental recently, even if these art styles are so different from the series themselves that they're teetering more on false advertising. But in spite of that, when Jujutsu Kaisen pulled up as the new kid on the block and said, nah, fuck that, let's just add a 6-frame dissolve between like half the shots, nobody really batted an eye, myself included. It was only to my dismay a year or so later when I realized this decision the director made to add a mere fade to his opening had effectively just opened Pandora's box and casted irreversible damage onto every other flavor of the season anime opening forever. So why does this matter? Well, realistically, it doesn't. This doesn't matter at all. Probably because no one cares, except me. Hi. I think what's gradually pickled me more and more about this topic ever since it first came to fruition is that this isn't a generic fade to black, fade to white, or even remarkably slow fade. No, this is a consistently rhythmic cross dissolve that is used to seamlessly string together 4 to 5 Sakuga cuts near or during the climax of the song. You'll see them the most often in these little 5-second bursts, but in some cases just throw all thought out the window and hog up the entire back half of the opening. It's gotten so bad that I've started playing this game of I Spy where I'll tally up how many consecutive dissolves are being used to find out which anime is the most guilty of this, and finally, after 3 fucking years, Oshi no Ko has taken over Jujutsu Kaisen's 13 uninterrupted fades by barraging us with a staggering 14 back-to-back cross dissolves. I don't think many people would consider this that big of a departure from the standard hard cut or more seamless transition, but to me, this new stylistic trend has permanently altered the creation, flow, and presentation of openings. Despite hip new shows like Chainsaw Man having surprisingly innovative openings with a lot of unique ideas, they still stick out like a sore tentacle with how interchangeable they all feel. Like, you could throw this into a random AOT or Jujutsu Kaisen episode and I'd only be a little scared. On the other tentacle, the new Mob Psycho and Onimai openings are just as creative in their own ways, yet still feel totally distinct from anything, with Mob only resembling its 2 prior openings that it harbored said style from. And even setting aside how every Studio Mappa anime looks like it hatched from the same egg, because come on. This method of cross-dissolving wacky ideas together has in a lot of ways led to this feeling of sameness, while both Onimai and Mob literally rooted their wacky ideas into the transitions themselves. These kinds of openings are so commonplace now that they show up just as often in shonen as the Kirara jump shows up in Slice of Life. And fading now too, I guess. You might chalk it up to coincidence that this is all of a sudden happening after one of the most successful openings in the last half-decade released, but I don't think lightning strikes 16 times. Like, Made in Abyss even ends its OP with this weird rotoscopy POV shot in the same fashion that the second Jujutsu Kaisen opening ends it with this dude punching you in the gut, so it's not a very far cry to assume that this was at least loosely inspired. But with the obligatory exposition dump behind us now, I'm gonna let this squid out of the bag and say something totally out of Gale that'll probably disrupt the entire flow to this video. I love these openings. Like a lot. Maybe it's just because I've watched these hundreds of times by now that it stands out more to me than the average squid that these are all fundamentally the exact same thing, but who cares? Just because every Big Mac looks the same doesn't make me drool or puke any less. What, you think you're better than everyone else? No, get the fuck out of here, scram. Like, Dragon Maid's new season completely ripped off Nishijo's zoom in thing, but for some reason we see this as a cute nod rather than unapologetic plagiarism. Yeah, I know it's the same director, don't worry, I'm gonna address that in like a... Oh, right now. By this point, you've probably picked up how much Mappa footage I've been laying down, and yeah, good job, you're right. Here's a little sticker, fucking swine. If you need a witch to burn this guy. Kidding, because Shingo Yamashida's cross-dissolve game is going 4 for 4 for openings that he's both directed, but more importantly, edited. If you think you don't know him, no, you do, because he's the one who animated this. These transitions aren't really prevalent in any of his previous work, so I think after being given full reign on Jujutsu Kaisen, he knew what had to be done. Seriously, this guy's great. Everything he touches totally steals the scene. As an art form, these fades look the smoothest with this clean-cut Vaseline art style, which is probably why you see studios like Mappa and Doga Kobo sucking up to it so much, even when Yamashida's name is nowhere to be found. I don't think this trend is any different from the usual big studio saw big money and milked the ever-living squid out of it, so now every other studio is trying to get a piece of the pie too. When placed with actual thought, these cookie-cutter transitions can leave a pretty big impact, which I know sounds fucking retarded, but seriously, there's a reason these openings all have tens of millions of views. Yeah, Keksi, no, it's not the song, no. The reason Chainsaw Man's opening got 80 million views was because of the fades. 2 Year Eternity's opening was really bad. Okay, honestly, I don't even think this one was trying to follow the trend. I just think the poor guy making it fell more in love with Hikaru Utada's voice than the show itself, which, okay. I get they were trying to use the fades to match her more subdued vocals, but it ended up looking more like someone sneezed on the screen and never bothered wiping it off. Hey, here's my daily double dog dare for you. Take a shot every time this opening doesn't use a hard cut. Don't worry, I'm not expecting to hear back. To be honest, I've had some trouble deciding where to draw the line here, because it's totally subjective if you consider something like Vinland Saga fading on stills to be the same as this. There's only a few shows I'd give a passing glance to if you told me, no, Keksi, actually, you're wrong. This has always been a thing. And you're right, the dissolve transition wasn't born yesterday, but let's not turn our brains off to the fact that MAPPA has effectively monopolized this style 100-fold. Granted, we still haven't reached a point where literally every opening is doing this, but I'm dumping this trauma onto everyone else so I can either say I told you so or look like a total loony in 2 years. Subscribe, like if you agree, don't leave a dislike though, it makes me sad, I don't know, bye. Hey guys, I'm sick now, so sorry if I sound weird. Thank you to my Super Mega Bazaka Ilya fans, Rattled Gaming, here's your little smackaroo. And here's one for you too, Gravels. Oh yeah, thank you to my $30 patron, Andrew Hossel, and thank you to my Super Mega Ilya fans, Apple, Arctic Hand, Rain Shrinker, Aria on the Planets, Bruno Bucciolati, Candy Cane, Emma, Furl, Joke Party 69, Jonah Yonker, Emma 47, Minchi, Mr. Not Specified, Nito, Red Raccoon, Sheena, The Epic Droid, True 101, Twy, and thank you to all my other patrons, bye.